Shinku from the Valley of Gods? Jason raised an eyebrow. Beside the work, Bosworth's eyes lit up, and his heartbeat couldn't help but accelerate. Tian High Continent is full of wars and hundreds of tribes are vying for hegemony. As the saying goes, no force can prosper forever, not even the top powers like Ling Tian sect and Shenmi Valley. Over the past 10,000 years, too many families have risen and fallen, making all major families full of worries. Therefore, almost all major families in the world have backup plans and a large amount of treasures. Once the family encounters any crisis, they can save a lot of financial resources, then rise again and make a comeback. Bosworth's Ling Tian sect is just like those ordinary families. He naturally understands the principle that people without long-term worries will have immediate worries. Therefore, there are treasures hidden in the sect that can make the family survive after encountering a huge disaster. After operating secretly for hundreds or even thousands of years, it is thriving again. God's Destruction Valley and Ling Tian sect are both the two top powers on the mainland. Bosworth believes that God's Destruction Valley will also leave a way out for him. Even if Shin Miegu is so arrogant that he leaves no escape route for himself, as the top power in the entire continent, Shin Miegu has more than thousands of powerful forces, and he will definitely have no shortage of treasures. A great force that stands proudly at the top of the continent and has dominated the continent for thousands of years. How amazing will the treasures it has collected for thousands of years be? Everyone's blood boiled when they thought about it. Let's go. Jason's eyes flashed in the sky and he spoke directly. Whoosh! Whoosh! Immediately, a group of people, led by Munad, quickly rushed towards the main hall of the God's Destruction Valley below. The main hall of the Valley of Gods. As the top power in the mainland, the entire palace complex is splendid and magnificent. Looking from a distance, there is an aura rushing towards you, which is terrifying. But now, the solemn main hall of the Gods Mega Valley is in a mess. A large amount of blood is spilled, shrill screams of pain are constantly heard, and the rich smell of blood makes people feel like they have arrived in the abyss of hell. Under the leadership of Munad and others, a group of people immediately entered the most luxurious palace in the entire Xinjiang Valley. Everyone walked all the way in and came to the deepest secret room. In front of the secret room, the leader of the Rachel's clan was standing there, looking around with vigilant eyes, watching everything here. In front of him, a skinny old man was kneeling there, being watched tightly by Rachel. His body was covered with blood, and he had obviously suffered extremely serious trauma, but the powerful spirit emanating from him, judging by his strength, this old man turned out to be a 9th-level low-level Holy Spirit Master. Seeing the arrival of Jason and others, the old man's face suddenly showed a look of horror, as if he had seen a devil. His body trembled slightly, and he could hardly control his body shape. Lord Jason, this old man is an elder from the God's Destruction Valley. When I just searched here to kill the remnants of the God's Destruction Valley, I saw this old man trying to enter the secret room secretly. I captured him, and later I learned from his mouth that this secret room is the treasure house of the God's Destruction Valley. It contains the treasures of the God's Destruction Valley for thousands of years. Please make your decision. Munad hurriedly said, "Speak respectfully. Behind this gate is the treasure house of the Valley of God's Destruction?" A faint smile appeared on Jason's lips. "Munad, Rachel, you did a good job." "Where?" Munad suddenly laughed, and then he said in a voice, "Lord Jason, I have inspected it before. There is a very strong restriction on this treasure house. There is no way to break it and it cannot be opened at all. But I think since this old man is here, he should obviously know how to open it, so I didn't kill it." "Oh? It has a very strong restriction?" Jason, Bosworth and others immediately looked around and saw complex lines on the dark door. These lines, it doesn't look conspicuous, but everyone present is a 9th-level Holy Spirit Master. Naturally, they can feel that there is an extremely terrifying aura in these lines. Once they are attacked forcefully, they will definitely suffer huge backlash. This aura is so terrifying that even the Supreme Master of Bosworth of the Lingtian sect, who is a 9th-level senior Holy Spirit Master, feels faintly fearful in his heart. Tell me how to open the door to the secret room. Munad took a step forward, his cold eyes fell on the old man kneeling there, and he shouted coldly. Now the only way to open the secret room is from this old man. The old man looked at Jason, who walked in with trembling eyes, and tried his best to calm down. Then he straightened his neck and said, I will tell you how to open this treasure house only if you promise to let me go. Huh? Munad's brow suddenly frowned. You dare to negotiate terms with us, tell me right away, otherwise believe it or not, I will kill you immediately? An invisible and powerful pressure surged from Munad's body. The ground exploded, covering the old man, and the terrifying wood spiritual power surged, and he had the momentum of fighting over a disagreement. Haha. After hearing Munad's words, the old man was not afraid at all, but couldn't help laughing. His eyes were red and he looked at Jason with a hint of madness. Lord Jason, with your identity and strength, one word, I'm just a little person, for you, letting me go shouldn't be a big problem, right? This treasure house contains the treasures of our God's Destruction Valley for thousands of years, what? Do you want to exchange these for my life? Don't you agree? The old man looked crazy, as if he was not afraid of life and death. To tell you the truth, the restrictions on this treasure house were set up by the strongest generation of Valley Masters in the history of our God's Destruction Valley. They contain extremely powerful restrictions. Once the error is broken and the restrictions are disturbed, all of you will die. How about that? As long as you promise to let me go, I will tell you how to crack it, otherwise, you will never get this treasure. The old man gritted his teeth and spoke coldly, his eyes full of ferociousness. Munad couldn't help but burst into anger. He took a step forward and couldn't even handle this little thing. Munad was very worried about his image and status in Master Jason's mind. What am I? If you dare, kill me. In the entire Valley of Gods, I am the only one who knows how to break this restriction. If you kill me, you will get nothing. Haha, come on, come on. The old man, extremely arrogant and no longer fearful as before, he was obviously confident and could defeat Jason and the others. In front of the old man, Jason couldn't help but shook his head and said calmly, You asked me to kill you. What? The old man was stunned. Before he could react, the next moment, Jason Wen's right hand, which contained terrifying power, slapped him hard on the top of his head. Pung! A terrifying spiritual power rushed into the old man's body along Jason's palm. The old man's eyes bulged out with disbelief, and traces of bright red blood flowed from his 7 orifices. He came out, and then completely lost his breath, and his body fell weakly. Until he died, his eyes were so wide that he could not close them. He obviously did not expect that Jason would actually kill him. Wow! Killing the old man with one palm, Jason waved his hands, and a stream of chaotic energy quickly spread to the old man on the ground. The terrifying aura released from Jason's body was the heaven and earth refining technique. In front of the secret room, Jason waved his hands and instantly pulled out an earth-yellow pillar of law from the old man's body. It was like an earth python, constantly twisting and struggling in the void. The laws of the earth element were mysteriously flowing, exuding the aura of the Great Avenue. It is the understanding of the earth law that this old man possesses. It's really nothing to me to spare you a low-level Holy Spirit Master. Unfortunately, I hate others threatening me the most. Jason looked at the old man's body and shook his head with a sneer. This old man is just a 9th-level low-level Holy Spirit Master. With Jason's current strength, he naturally doesn't care. Besides, the Valley of Gods has been completely destroyed. A small low-level Holy Spirit Master can't make any big waves. If he begged nicely and told the solution, Jason might be merciful and spare his life. Unfortunately, he chose the wrong way. Rachel's, this pillar of earth element law belongs to you. After killing the old man, Jason looked around and did not put the earth yellow law into the God of War tower. Instead, he shouted to Rachel. "Make a sound." Rachel, who was guarding the door of the secret room, was stunned. Before he could react, Jason had already slammed the twisted pillar of law into Rachel's body with a bang. Crack! The pillar of earth law entered the body, and the shirt on Rachel's body suddenly exploded. A trail of earth yellow breath lingered on his body surface. His muscles stretched and blood overflowed. His whole body was filled with the power of law. The mysterious laws seemed to be bathed in the river of laws. The powerful mysterious laws washed through his body and bombarded his soul, making him full of pain, and his face was distorted. "Ah!" Rachel roared in pain, but his brows were full of surprises. He felt that under the tempering of this pillar of law, he had a deeper understanding of the laws of the earth element. Some earth mysteries that he could not understand before, now seemed to have cleared away the heavy fog, and his heart was filled with clear feelings, and there was a refreshing feeling of enlightenment and sudden awakening. The whole process lasted for about a quarter of an hour. After all, the old man was only a 9th-level low-level Holy Spirit Master, and Rachel himself was also a low-level 9th-level Holy Spirit Master. Although the process of absorbing the laws was painful, he did not encounter any fatal threats. "It's almost done." The endless light of law dissipated, and Rachel's whole person had become completely new. His eyes were piercing and sparkling, and an amazing aura spread out from his body. When he moved his hands and feet, powerful spiritual power was dissipated. There was actually something about to break through to the 9th level. The feeling of advancing to the 9th level, intermediate level. "Thank you, Master Jason." After feeling the transformation in his body, Rachel immediately knelt down on one knee, feeling extremely excited, and respectfully spoke to Jason. As the current patriarch of the Bonin family, Rachel has been promoted to the 9th level low-level Holy Spirit Master for some time. Over the years, he has been trying to break through the 9th level low-level and advance to the 9th level intermediate level, but he has been unable to find a solution. The realm remains stagnant. After previously absorbing the mysteries of the earth laws of the God Destruction Valley elders that Jason had penetrated into his body, Rachel's was surprised to find that the shackles in his body that he had never understood before were now completely broken. The mystery unique to intermediate-level Holy Spirit Masters flowed in his heart, giving him a sense of pleasure that it was within reach and could be broken at the touch of a touch. Rachel's believes that as long as he retreats for a period of time, he will be able to break through the 9th level low-level Holy Spirit Master and advance to the 9th level intermediate Holy Spirit Master. His wish for many years is about to come true. How can he not be excited or excited? Sensing Rachel's excitement, Jason smiled calmly, held up his hand, and lifted up Rachel, who was kneeling there. The 9th level low-level Holy Spirit Master's law understanding is of no use to Jason today. It is better to give it to Rachel and the others. After all, during these days on Tian High Continent, the Boning family has always been loyal, even in the face of life and death crisis, he would stand in front of him without hesitation. Although Jason didn't say it before, he always kept it in his heart. The next moment, Jason had arrived at the door of the secret room, and at the same time, his hands were directly pressed against the dark door of the secret room. Buzz! Black lights suddenly lit up on the dark stone door of the entire secret room. Black lines appeared one after another, flashing continuously. A terrifying aura spread, a clicking machine sound sounded, the array patterns were activated, and a powerful spiritual force came out, causing everyone behind Jason to change their expressions and take 2 steps back involuntarily. Even the Supreme Sect leader Bosworth felt chills all over his body in front of this terrifying force, the hairs on his body stood up, and he felt the threat to his life. It's just a holy formation, pretending to be a ghost. Jason couldn't help but sneered in front of the dark stone door. Although the aura revealed on this stone gate is astonishing, its essence is just a 9th level saint-level attack and killing formation. This was set up by the most powerful Valley Master in the history of the God's Destruction Valley, and that Valley Master is a 9th level Holy Level Formation Master. At the same time, Jason also discovered that although the restriction on the stone gate was only a 9th level Holy Level Formation, the power contained in it was like some kind of forbidden power. Once triggered, it could not be broken in time, even if it was a 9th level advanced Holy Spirit Master. Being hit from the front may lead to death. Of course, in front of Jason, a Formation Master who could even decipher the 10th level Divine Formation, it was naturally impossible for him to activate a small 9th level Holy Formation. Who? In front of the dark stone door, Jason's hands moved quickly. Pa. 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 His hands turned into phantoms and clicked on the stone door. The spiritual power, containing terrifying power, was quickly penetrated into the formation by Jason. Every blow hits the most critical point of this formation. Gah! Gah! On the dark formation, a dazzling light lit up, and the terrifying aura emitted retreated like a tide. The entire stone door suddenly opened, and Jason, who was standing in front of the stone door, left in one step. Entered this underground chamber. A row of luminous pearls exudes soft light, illuminating the entire secret room. This is the God's Destruction Valley, the treasure that has been harvested for thousands of years? Jason took a breath of air. At the end of the secret room, there were piles of spiritual cores, spiritual stones, and spiritual crystals. A huge amount of spiritual cores, spiritual crystals, etc. Stones and spiritual crystals can be seen everywhere like cheap bricks. These spiritual cores, spiritual stones, and spiritual crystals are at least the 7th level Emperor level. Most of them are 8th level Emperor level spiritual stones, exuding all kinds of magnificence. The light is neatly coded according to its level and attributes, exuding astonishing spiritual power fluctuations. So many colorful spiritual cores, spiritual stones, spiritual crystals, etc. placed together gave Jason and the others a great visual shock. In addition to wuhi, elixir, etc., boxes of treasures can be seen everywhere on the ground. Open a box at random and rich spiritual energy rushes out. There are all kinds of treasures inside, including armor, weapons, jewelry, and of course, elixir materials. These treasures are all of a high level, just like elixir materials. The lowest ones are 7th level Emperor level materials. As for armors, weapons, etc., they are naturally extremely high-level spiritual weapons. There are nearly 100 boxes placed in the entire secret room. The ones usually placed on the outside are naturally the worst. This can be seen from the material of the boxes. The boxes outside are only fine pure gold, and gradually the boxes are made of fine gold. Inside, it turned into dragon demon mithril, and the innermost part was made of phoenix blood divine gold. The box itself was a rare material. Jason and the others walked in and opened all the boxes. Buzz. Just when Jason opened the innermost dozen boxes made of phoenix blood divine gold, a soaring spiritual power aura rose into the sky, and terrifying saint-level spiritual power, like a wave, soared into the sky from the treasure box. Started, shocking everyone present. This is Jason's eyes also condensed. In this treasure box, there were 3 spiritual cores placed. On each spiritual core, there was an astonishing aura of law emanating, with a strong the holy power is actually the spiritual core of a 9th order Holy Spirit beast. The 9th level spiritual core is equivalent to the 9th level elixir material. It is extremely rare in any place and is a treasure passed down from generation to generation. Jason then opened the box below. Boom! Another burst of spiritual energy soared into the sky, forming auspicious clouds of 5 colors in the secret room. In the second treasure box made of phoenix blood divine gold, 5 colored auspicious clouds were neatly placed. Different spiritual crystals, these 5 spiritual crystals represent the 5 elements, the laws of the 5 attributes of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, and their spiritual power. Jason bathed in them and felt extremely comfortable. The spiritual core is obtained from the spirit beast. It is the collection of a spirit beast's life essence and blood. It contains all the laws and powers possessed by the spirit beast. However, the energy in it is extremely violent and cannot be directly used by the spiritual master. Absorption. Generally speaking, spiritual cores are more suitable as elixir materials for preparing elixirs. But the spiritual crystal is different. It is a unique existence formed by the spiritual energy of heaven and earth after countless years of erosion. It can be said that it is a collection of pure spiritual energy, which can be directly absorbed by the spiritual master, and is extremely rare. The 5-element spiritual crystal that appears in front of Jason now is equivalent to the 5 elements holy fruit that Jason obtained in the 7-star sea, and is of great help to Jason. Tomorrow, my primary school teacher is going to Shanghai to attend the Qidian annual meeting. Jason opened the boxes below one by one. Next, various treasures appeared, including heaven-level spiritual weapons and 8th-level emperor-level elixirs. However, what excited Jason the most was the 5 items in the innermost box. Treasure chests. Each of the 5 treasure chests contained several 9th-level elixir materials. There were actually 23 kinds of 9th-level holy elixirs in total, which shocked Jason. You must know that when the Master of Bispham Tower took Jason into the Divine Medicine Hall of the Spiritual Medicine Master Tower, the entire Spiritual Medicine Master Tower only had 46 kinds of 9th-level holy medicines, and this God's Destruction Valley actually had 2. The 13 holy medicines were half of the Elixir Tower, which made Jason extremely excited. This God's Destruction Valley, a treasure that has been around for thousands of years, is really extraordinary. Behind Jason, Supreme Sect leader Bosworth looked at so many treasures and couldn't help but sigh. As for Munad and others, I have been stunned for a long time. Although Ling Tian Sect and Xinmia Valley are both the 2 top forces in Tianhai Continent, in fact, the history of Ling Tian Sect in Tianhai Continent is much shorter than that of Xinmia Valley, and the rise time of Ling Tian Sect is not as long as that of Xinmia Valley, coupled with the fact that Xinmia Valley has the inheritance of ancient god-level formation masters. There have been many strong men in the past, and even 9th-level saint-level masters of formations have appeared. In addition, Xinmia Valley also operates a spiritual elixir business, resulting in the wealth accumulated by Xinmia Valley actually far exceeds that of Ling Tian Sect. After all, the Ling Tian Sect only rose to prominence in the past 1,000 years and became one of the 2 top powers in the Tianhai Continent along with the Valley of Gods. The wealth in this secret room, I'm afraid, even if all the wealth of some of the top families on the mainland were combined, it might not be that much. The Supreme Sect Master Bosworth looked at the treasures piled up in the entire secret room. Treasures. The value of these treasures cannot be calculated simply. Brother Jason, I basically didn't help much when we came to the God's Destruction Valley for this showdown. It was all your fault. In this case, all the treasures of the God's Destruction Valley belong to you. Bosworth. The Supreme Sect leader laughed. Everyone present couldn't help but glance at Bosworth. They did not expect that in front of so many treasures, the Supreme Sect leader Bosworth could hold back his greed. Brother Jason, with this, I think your Bonin family will become the #1 force on Tianhai Continent in the future. Supreme Sect leader Bosworth smiled again. Since he said so, obviously, they have no desire to dominate at all. They don't even want to maintain the scene of 2 heroes fighting for hegemony like before in Xinmiegu. Instead, they are willing to be the 2nd force under the Bonin family. After saying this, Bosworth couldn't help but secretly sigh. It's not that he doesn't have greed and doesn't want the treasures in the house. It's not that he is willing to be submissive and willing to be the 2nd best in the continent. In fact, Jason was the one before. The powerful strength displayed made him tremble. He clearly knew that if he had a conflict with Jason and fought in front of Jason, he would not even be as good as Daniel's. He was killed without any suspense. At this moment, he could only pray that Jason's ambition would not be too high. If you want to join the mainland and lead the Boning family to destroy the Ling Tian sect, you are already thankful. the number one force? Jason smiled, but he didn't have much pursuit of such illusory things. Bosworth, since we are cooperating, we must look like we are cooperating. Let's do this. I want these treasures here, the 9th level holy elixir materials, and some precious 8th level elixir materials. Belong to me. As for the remaining elixirs, armors, weapons, spiritual cores and other treasures, they will be divided into 3 parts. I, the Boning family, and your Lingtian sect will each have 1 share. As for the secret books and spiritual skills of the God's Destruction Valley, everyone can copy a copy of the technique. Jason said calmly. This Bosworth couldn't help being shocked. The 9th level holy elixir and the rare 8th level emperor elixir both belong to Jason? Should everyone share the rest equally? Bosworth was completely shocked. In fact, their Lingtian sect did not have a powerful elixir master at all. Even if these 9th level elixirs were given to him, they would still be a waste of natural resources. On the contrary, they are not as practical as other things. If you want to say that this what he really valued were the high-level elixirs, as well as basic things such as spiritual crystals and spiritual cores. These things allowed him, the Lingtian sect, to quickly create a group of strong men. As for weapons, armor, and secret books, although they are rare, they are not that important. Brother Jason, I can't accept this. Bosworth continued, these elixirs and spiritual cores are really too valuable. If it weren't for you during the siege of God's Destruction Valley this time, I'm afraid I would have perished long ago. I'm here, how can I still collect your things? Sir Jason, our Bonin family doesn't need it either. While Bosworth was speaking, the elder Munad clan chief also spoke up hastily. Okay, don't argue anymore, Jason smiled calmly. Munad, these treasures are of great benefit to your Bonin family and can help your Bonin family rise quickly, so there is no need to refuse. Lord Bosworth, to tell you the truth, I am not from Tian High Continent. What? Bosworth was shocked. Supreme Master Bosworth, I am actually from Stern Continent, and I am the acting Tower Master of Stern Continent's Spiritual Medicine Master Tower. As for the Boning family, they are the branch of my Spiritual Medicine Master Tower in Tian High Continent. Jason didn't hide it, and there was no point in hiding it, because the god's birthday was less than half a year away, and he and Bosworth would still have to meet by then. One of the twin towers of Stern Continent, the Spiritual Medicine Master Tower, is the acting Tower Master? The Supreme Sect Master Bosworth was completely stunned. It's not that he doesn't know about the Spiritual Medicine Master Tower. It is one of the 2 top forces on the Stern Continent, with extraordinary strength. Its tower owner, Bisvam, is a 9th level Spiritual Medicine Master with a special system. The life-type Spiritual Master is extremely terrifying. He left an extremely profound impact on Bosworth on the last birthday of the god 100 years ago. I didn't expect that, Brother Jason, you would be the acting Tower Master of the Alchemist Tower. This is really Bosworth sighed with emotion. His awe for Jason in his heart was even stronger, and he was even more looking forward to the birthday of the god. Coming, you must know that on the battlefield of the ancient gods, the possibility of a Spiritual Medicine Master obtaining fragments of the divine law is far higher than that of an ordinary Spiritual Master. No wonder, Brother Jason, you are so powerful. I have always wondered why we have a genius like Brother Jason in our Tian High Continent, but you hid it so well and only appeared now. Bosworth said with emotion, but on the day of God's birthday, Brother Jason needs your full help. Bosworth was extremely excited to be able to climb up to such a powerful force as the Spiritual Medicine Master Tower, and at the same time, he was also grateful for what he had done at the Tian High War God ruins. I feel extremely happy about my decision. No problem. Jason nodded, but Supreme Master Bosworth, the situation on Stern Continent is different now. I hope you are a little more accurate immediately. Jason briefly explained everything that happened on Stern Continent so that Bosworth could understand. What the Spiritual Master Tower has united with the Cairo Empire, the Kamikaze Empire, and the City of Sin? The spiritual medicine master tower has united with the Salem Empire and the City of Dawn? Supreme Sect Master Bosworth was shocked by another showdown. The next moment, a glimmer of light suddenly flashed in the eyes of Supreme Sect leader Bosworth. Don't worry, Jason Knighty, I know what to do when the time comes. Even if you climb up to the elixir master tower, you may facing forces such as the spiritual master tower, but he is a lone traveler and does not choose to take sides. It will be more dangerous to be caught between many forces. What's more, on their side, there are two spirits, Bispham and Jason. Medicine Saint Master, coupled with his friendship with Jason, there was no need for Bosworth to consider how to choose. Under Jason's strong request, in the end, all three parties got their own part of the treasure. In fact, if Jason hadn't considered the territory of chaos and himself as the acting master of the Alchemist Tower, and the many people below, Jason wouldn't have cared at all about those secret books, weapons, armors, etc. The distribution of treasures is over. As for the territory of the Gods' Destruction Valley, both sides have also made a decision. The Bonin family will own all 6 major states in the Gods' Destruction Valley, and the remaining major states on the mainland will be fought together by both parties. Whoever can conquer it belongs to them. Of course, if one force wants to join a certain party, the other party cannot stop it. All the elixir industries in the entire continent are controlled by the Bonin family. Neither party has any objection to this. In fact, such an agreement is extremely disadvantageous to the Lingtian sect. After all, Jason's reputation has already spread with this battle. Coupled with the status of the Bonin family as a family of elixirs, most of the forces on the mainland will definitely I would rather choose the Bonin family. However, Bosworth didn't care about it. He was satisfied with being able to obtain these benefits in this battle. The most important thing is that no matter how powerful the power is, it is only an external thing. Only strength is truly eternal, and if Jason builds a good relationship, the benefits he will get on the birthday of God will be far greater than the turf war on this Tianhai continent. In the Battle of Shinmia Valley, almost all the top management of Shinmia Valley died. Some of the remaining members of Shinmia Valley on the mainland also disappeared completely. They either changed their names or lived in seclusion. They never dared to show their faces on the mainland again, and Shinmiegu's original Ben's palace was also completely occupied by the Bonin family and became a branch base. After the news of the complete destruction of the Gods' Destruction Valley, the entire continent was in an uproar. Countless forces were completely alarmed and felt tremendous pressure. But all this has nothing to do with Jason. He just arranged everything. As for how to do the rest, it depends on the Bonin family. He can't stay here forever, stay in Tianhai continent forever. In the next few days, Jason prepared a bottle of 9th level holy level elixir for Munad and Rachel each, keeping it for their information, and at the same time gave them a lot of guidance. 10 days passed in a blink of an eye. On the 11th day after Daniel's death, it was finally the day that Jason and Claire decided to prepare to return to Stern Continent. In the courtyard of the Bonin family mansion in Jiuling City. Munad, Rachel, there is no need to send it away. Jason smiled and said to Munad and the others. Lord Jason, please go away. If you have any orders in the future, please feel free to do so. We, the Bonin family, will always obey your orders and will go through fire and water without hesitation. Munader spoke emotionally in the courtyard. Yes, as long as you give the order, Master Jason, no matter the sword or the fire, if our Bonin family frowns, we will die. Our Bonin family will always be your Bonin family, sir. Lei Chiasi and others also spoke excitedly. No wonder they are not excited. You must know that before Jason arrived, the situation of the Bonin family had reached an extremely crisis point. It can be said that if it were not for Jason, the Bonin family would have been completely eliminated on the mainland. No longer exists, and everyone will die in the hands of God Destruction Valley. It was Jason who, when the family was in the most critical moment, completely saved the Bonin family, cured the old patriarch Munad, and repelled the attack from the Gods Destruction Valley. Now he has completely destroyed the God's Destruction Valley and saved the Bonin family. They have become the largest family in Tian High Continent. Such a great favor is something that even people from all over the world will not be able to express their gratitude to. In the hearts of Munad and others, Jason is the benefactor of the Bonin family and the reborn parent of everyone. Jason smiled and cupped his hands to Munad and others. Farewell. At this moment, brother Jason, wait a minute. In the distance, a loud shout suddenly sounded, and immediately, there was a boom and a void. It shattered, and Bosworth's tall figure suddenly walked out of it. Seeing that Jason hadn't left yet, Bosworth suddenly showed a smile on his face. Fortunately, I'm not too late. After the words fell, a space ring suddenly appeared in Bosworth's hand, and then he threw it away. Towards Jason. Huh? Jason caught the space ring, and confusion suddenly appeared on his face. Supreme Sect Master Bosworth, what are you? Brother Jason, I, Bosworth, gave this to you. A gift. Bosworth smiled. A gift? Jason frowned, squeezed out a drop of blood from his pores, first recognized the space ring as its owner, and then infiltrated his spiritual consciousness into the space ring. Jason was stunned by this perception. I saw a number of jade boxes densely placed in the space ring. There were more than 50 in total. Each of these jade boxes exuded astonishing fluctuations of elixirs. Obviously, the ones stored in them were all high-level ones. Among the elixir materials, the most concentrated ones are the 9 jade boxes. The elixir essence on them is condensed and does not disperse. Only 9th level holy elixir can produce such an effect. Brother Jason, there are 9 kinds of 9th level saint level elixirs here, and more than 40 kinds of 8th level emperor level elixirs. Although it cannot be compared with the number of elixirs in the God's Destruction Valley, it is also the number of elixirs that our Ling Tian sect has obtained over the years. All our savings, our Ling Tian sect does not have a powerful elixir master, so storing these high-grade elixirs there is a waste. It can be said to be a secret investment. Now that they are handed over to you, brother Jason, it can be considered the best destination for them. Bosworth. C laughed out loud. Jason looked at Bosworth deeply, and then laughed. In that case, I will accept it. Bosworth, see you on the birthday of God. After saying that, Jason's eyebrows flashed with blue light. The God of War tower quickly appeared, wrapping both him and Claire in it. Let go. The God of War tower shook 6 times, and the void exploded. The God of War tower, which was as tall as a person, quickly turned into a stream of light, entered the endless void, and disappeared. The black void closed again and calm was restored. Looking at the retreating figures of Jason and the others, Supreme Sect Master Bosworth sighed. Although Jason had not been in Tian High Continent for a long time, he had left many legends in Tian High Continent. Whether it was the first time in Tian High Continent in the past 3,000 years. The Holy Master of Cold Medicine, the Battle of the God of War Ruins, or Daniels, the God of Destruction, will all make Tian High Continent remember this powerful man forever. Stern Continent? Bosworth murmured, Brother Jason, we can meet again in half a year, but before that, I have to improve my strength to a stronger state. There are many powerful people in the Stern Continent. If they want to take advantage of the God's birthday and help the Jason brothers, my strength is still not enough. After finishing his words, Bosworth waved his hand, the whole person also stepped into the void and disappeared. Between Stern Continent and Tian High Continent, in the endless ocean. Wow! The monstrous sea water dispersed, the sky was filled with steam, and the huge waves surged into the sky, creating a terrifying scene. However, in the endless void turbulence over the ocean, Chi. The powerful void turbulence formed black halos, turning into terrifying particle flows, constantly washing past. These spatial particle flows have terrifying power, and can easily kill the 8th level Emperor Spirit Master. Although the 9th level Holy Spirit Master can resist a little, they can only touch the edge of the space turbulence at most. To truly shuttle through the turbulent flow of the void, only ninth-level advanced Holy Spirit masters who have mastered the laws of the void can do it. But at this moment, in the turbulent flow in the sky, a blue one-person-high pagoda quickly passed through the turbulent flow and flashed across the void. This pagoda is the God of War Tower. In the God of War space, Jason and Claire were practicing with their eyes closed. A large amount of five-element spiritual power was absorbed from the endless void and instilled into Jason's body. Claire was also absorbing a large amount of fire-based spiritual power. The God of War Tower is an artifact. Jason only needs to slightly activate the formation inside to allow it to travel autonomously in the void without Jason's full concentration on the control. This is because Jason himself is staying in the God of War Tower and does not have any control. The reason why Tang Kong was broken by himself. A large amount of fire spiritual power poured into Claire's body like a tide, turning Claire's whole body into a brilliant red. Her whole body was extremely sacred, like a saint bathing in flames, extremely noble. Suddenly, a burst of rich fire elements burst out from Claire's body. The hot air waves spread through Jason, immediately waking him up from his trance. Huh? Jason's closed eyes suddenly opened, with surprise in them. Boom! Not far away, there was a blazing flame burning on Claire's body. A terrifying aura spread out from Claire's body, and dazzling red lights bloomed from Claire's body surface. These red lights grew stronger and stronger, and the terrifying aura spread, making Jason even tremble. This Claire is going to be promoted? The next moment, Jason's eyes flashed with surprise. Huh. Jason stood up, and the spiritual power in his body was released slightly. The God of War Tower that was originally in the turbulence of the void suddenly shattered the void and appeared over the ocean, releasing both Jason and Claire at the same time. Boom! The monstrous water waves rolled, and the terrifying aura spread from below. Countless water swords rushed towards them, and there were even more vortexes spinning, releasing infinite power. This is actually the Hurricane Demonic Sea. It took Jason and Claire 10 days to reach the Tianhai continent from the Hurricane Demonic Sea. But this time, during the flight in the shattered void, it only took them less than a day. When we arrived at the location of the Hurricane Demon Sea. Above the Hurricane Demonic Sea, as soon as Claire appeared between heaven and earth, a terrifying coercion instantly fell from the sky and enveloped her body. Powerful fire spiritual power, like torrents, emerged from the endless void and poured into Claire's body, reflecting the entire Hurricane Demon Sea in red. Boom! The next moment, a shadow of a true flame dragon suddenly rose up in Claire's body and appeared in the void, surrounded by mysterious fire laws, representing the laws of the Avenue of Fire. Infinite fire elemental laws came from all directions and entered Claire's body crazily. For a moment, the entire world became a sea of flames. Under this terrifying flame, the space of the Hurricane Demon Sea, the endless waves of water are evaporated and turned into water vapor that fills the sky. Although the God of War space has a large amount of strong spiritual power of various attributes and can also comprehend the laws of elements, once the spiritual masters in it are promoted, they must be recognized by the great avenue of heaven and earth. Ouch! The phantom of the flame true dragon raised its head and roared, letting out a roar that shocked the sky. Suddenly, the originally frantic Hurricane Demon Sea suddenly calmed down. Deep in the seabed, a large number of 8th-order Emperor-level spirit beasts appeared, and even some 9th-order holy-level spiritual beasts trembled under this terrifying dragon power. Rivers of flame elements continued to wash into Claire's body. Finally, after a very long time, boom! The spiritual power in Claire's body suddenly increased by a level, and her eyes opened. When she opened her golden eyes, she looked like a god who ruled the world. A series of transparent laws of voidness lingered around her. They were actually laws of the void that only 9th-level senior Holy Spirit masters could master. Wow! Above the Hurricane Demon Sea, Claire pulled forward with her hands, and the sound of space tearing sounded. The originally empty space was suddenly torn open by her into a huge space crack, and a series of space turbulence spurted out, but was blocked by an invisible force around Claire, unable to get even close to her. What's going on? Even if Claire is promoted, she is still a 9th-level intermediate Holy Spirit Master? How come she has mastered the law of the void that only a 9th-level senior Holy Spirit Master can master? Looking in front of her. At that scene, Jason couldn't help but cry out in shock. You must know that when he was promoted to the 9th-level intermediate Holy Spirit Master, although he was able to break the void, he relied on the powerful power brought by the spiritual god art to forcefully break the void. But now, Claire has just advanced to the 9th level. An intermediate Holy Spirit Master can even master the law of the void. How could Jason not be surprised? Master, Claire, can also break the void. In the sky, Claire completely restrained the powerful power she released and let out a cry of joy. Haha, Claire has finally become stronger and grown up. Jason also flew forward and laughed. Yes. Claire nodded heavily. Master, Claire has become stronger and can help the Master again. Her expression was serious and she spoke extremely seriously. For her, her strength has improved. The whole purpose was to help the young Master, so after being promoted, the first thing she thought about was that she could help Jason again. Over the hurricane sea, strong winds blew past, blowing Jason's long black hair flying. He looked at Claire in a daze, but for a moment, he couldn't say anything. Master? Sensing Jason's strange gaze, Claire murmured, and her face immediately turned red with embarrassment. The blush spread all the way to her ears, making her fair neck look very moving. At this moment, Jason's heart suddenly palpitated, and his figure flew forward involuntarily, and gently hugged Claire. Master? Claire murmured in her heart, closing her eyes, her eyelashes trembling slightly, and then she hugged Jason tightly. Boom! At this moment, a huge roar sounded, and in the hurricane sea, a water wave rose into the sky. A black spiritual light, like a sharp arrow, swept through the water waves in the sky like lightning. Came out, aiming at the location of Jason and Claire, and attacked fiercely. This was a completely black shark, more than 10 feet long, with red eyes and extremely bloodthirsty. From its body, it continuously exuded an astonishing power, launching extremely violent attacks towards Jason and Claire. The astonishing water spiritual power dispersed, and the dark-skinned shark cut through the void. A dark thread was pulled out of the void, and the holy level pressure dispersed. This dark-skinned shark was the 9th level holy level spiritual beast, the sacred tiger shark. Among the level spirit beasts, they are also quite powerful beings. Beast. Claire was so tender in Jason's arms before, but she didn't expect that at such a critical moment, this sacred tiger shark would suddenly appear, disrupting the rare tenderness between her and the young Master, and Claire's heart was extremely angry. She shouted loudly, and the giant sword from behind suddenly flew out and fell into her hand. She aimed at the sacred tiger shark and struck hard with it. Boom! The giant sword surged into the sky, and a burst of fiery red spiritual power suddenly burst out from the giant sword in Claire's hand, evolving into a stream of true dragon energy. The long sword tore through the void, arriving first and last, kill heavily on the body of the sacred tiger shark. Bang! There was a loud noise, and the sacred tiger shark let out a shrill roar. Under Claire's extremely angry attack, the skin, muscles, and bones on his body exploded layer by layer. Among the saint-level spirit beasts, the holy tiger shark, which is a quite powerful being, was directly chopped into a blood mist by Claire's sword, leaving only a 9th-level water spirit. The core is spinning in the air. Whoops, whoops. In the sky, Claire was breathing heavily, her eyes filled with anger. Even though she had killed the sacred tiger shark, she still felt unhappy. How Claire wished that time could stop and go back to the previous moment. After the fuss between the tiger sharks in the sanctuary, there was no longer that atmosphere between Jason and Claire. After saving the 9th-level spiritual core, the two immediately set off again, heading towards the stern continent. Flew away. Jason and Claire's strength is astonishing, both shattering the void and flying all the way. The day after the two left the Hurricane Sea. This is the mountain forest on the west side of the cloud swamp, spreading all the way to the horizon sea that separates the two continents. Boundless waves are constantly lapping at the coast, and the roaring sea wind brings waves of salty moisture without any breath of life. Suddenly, wow! The void above the originally peaceful coast suddenly shattered, and two figures, one black and one red, stepped out. Of these two people, one is handsome and elegant, carrying a black heavy sword on his back, and the other is handsome and fair-skinned, with short blonde hair flying around. Both of them looked at the familiar land in front of them with excitement in their eyes. "Father, mother, everyone, I, Jason, am back again," the black-haired young man murmured. These two people were Jason and Claire, who rushed back to Stern Continent from Tion High Continent. It took them more than half a month just to fly from Stern Continent to Tion High Continent. Time, and then went from Duanmu City to Jiuling City in the middle of Tion High Continent, which also took nearly half a month. But this time, after their strength improved, the two returned from Jiuling City to Stern Continent. A total of it only took 2 days. "Let's go." Taking a deep breath of the familiar air, Jason immediately roared out, and together with Claire, rushed towards the location of the Chaos Territory. The Territory of Chaos, the City of Chaos, in a courtyard of the Kongsi family mansion. Huh. A woman wearing an ordinary spiritual master's robe was practicing in the courtyard with her eyes closed, breathing in the rich red and green spiritual energy around her. This is a woman with long blue hair. She exudes an astonishing and terrifying aura. Countless red and blue spiritual elements, like long rivers, are constantly rotating. Beside the woman, they turn into a huge whirlpool of spiritual energy was absorbed crazily. This green-haired woman is Jason's mother, Yulia. At this moment, a violent spatial fluctuation suddenly came from the sky above the City of Chaos. Huh? Yulia, who was practicing in the courtyard with her eyes closed, suddenly opened her eyes, with trembling in her eyes. "No, which 9th level senior Holy Spirit Master is here?" Yulia was shocked. The territory of Chaos is located in the southernmost part of the continent. Normally, no 9th level senior Holy Spirit Master will come. Bisva, the Master of M Tower, is already in danger, and Master Philea is even less likely to come at will. So the one who comes now is most likely the Master of Atkinson Tower of the Spiritual Master Tower Whoosh. Yulia rose into the sky. "Enemy attack, Archimedes, Loken, you two lead everyone into the cloud swamp." Yulia shouted loudly, while looking solemnly at the void above where space fluctuations were faintly heard. "Enemy attack?" Below, Archimedes and Loken, who were dealing with affairs and training, raised their heads in shock. In the long time since Jason went to Tion High Continent, both of them had already advanced. A 9th level low-level Holy Spirit Master, but unlike Yulia, who is a 9th level intermediate water and fire Holy Spirit Master and has vaguely touched the realm of a 9th level senior Holy Spirit Master, she is still unable to sense the slightest fluctuation in the space. In everyone's trembling eyes. Bang! The void above the Chaos Territory suddenly shattered, and two figures exuding a terrifying aura walked out of it. This is after seeing the appearance of these two people. Both Yulia and Archimedes and Loken below were stunned. The next moment, excitement and joy appeared in everyone's eyes. There was a flash in his eyes. "Master!" Both of them soared into the sky and shouted excitedly. Yulia also looked at Jason blankly, with unbelievable and unconcealable joy in her eyes. "Mother," Archimedes Locust Jason said excitedly as well. For a moment, both sides' eyes became a little wet. "You brat, you've been away for almost a year, have you forgotten your mother?" Yulia suddenly scolded. "This, haha." Jason giggled twice. "By the way, you were from Shattered Void before, and Claire, are you two already promoted to the 9th level of Advanced Holy Spirit Master?" Yulia suddenly thought of something and couldn't help but wonder. With her knowledge, she could clearly see that what Jason had previously used was the shattering void that only 9th-level senior Holy Spirit Masters could use. However, she did not feel that kind of 9th-level energy from the two of them. The senior Holy Spirit Master Chi has a unique aura. Not yet. Jason shook his head. As for why shattering void can be used, it's hard to explain. Don't say so much. Why are we just standing here stupidly? Get off now, Yulia said with a smile. Everyone nodded and immediately turned towards the mansion below. In the hall of the Kongsi family mansion, a dark crowd was gathering in the hall at this moment. Everyone's face was full of excitement. Love. Because of the return of Jason and Claire, Archimedes decided to throw a big banquet. All the people in the entire city of Chaos are in jubilation today. As for the people in the hall now, naturally, they are Master Gandalf, a member of the Kang's family. Patriarch Tyson, Elder Maria of the Curie family, Patriarch Reagan of the Baihara family, and others. After learning the news of Jason's return, all of them had excitement on their faces. When Jason left, in the middle of the year, the development of the territory of Chaos was getting better and better, and with the help of the elixir formula that Archimedes obtained from Jason, each of them developed some amazing strength, and each of them became the 8th. The imperial spiritual master of this level can be called a powerful person. The banquet did not last long, only an hour, and it was over. Everyone knew that Jason had just come back, and he must have a lot to say to Yulia and the others. Naturally, they all retreated respectfully. Deep in the Kant's family mansion, Jason, Claire, Yulia, Archimedes, and Lokanyu sat down each. Mother, where are Father and Wayne? As soon as he sat down, Jason couldn't help but ask. Everyone was present at today's banquet, except for his father and Wayne, which naturally made him a little curious. Jason, your father is in the Mist Swamp. Cultivate in the Jintong Palace and accept the inheritance of the god-killing Nadim. As for Wayne, not long after you left, he went to the Arctic icefield again. He said that only there could he gain a better understanding. With the laws of the ice system, his strength increased again. Yulia explained. That's it. Jason nodded. When he was in the Jintong Temple, he was attacked by Scott, the Lord of Sin. When the temple guardian appeared, he once said that his father Renaud had not yet received the true power of the god-killing Nadim. Inheritance, only after he has advanced to the 9th level of low-level Holy Spirit Master, can he accept the real inheritance. Thinking about it, his father should be accepting the inheritance in the Jintong Palace at this moment. By the way, Jason, you and Claire should be the ones a 9th level intermediate Holy Spirit Master, right? Why just now? And what happened to Hailu and his party that day, and the injuries on the Master Abyssfam Tower? Yulia asked. Oh. Jason waved his hand, and suddenly, a ball of water exuding a rich breath of life appeared in his hand. The breath of life contained in this ball of water was so rich that Lokan and the others could only smell it. The spiritual power in the body surged, full of joy and excitement. Is this it? Yulia couldn't help but say. Yes, this is the water of life. Jason nodded. When Claire and I passed through the Sea of Sky, the Sea of Hurricane Demon, and came to the Tianhai continent immediately, Jason recalled everything he and Claire had experienced in the Tianhai continent. It was told in detail. The ups and downs, the smooth and refreshing shots, the strength when overwhelming Master Francis of the Divine Destruction Valley, and the magnificence of the legendary ruins of the Tianhai War God, the strongest man in the Tianhai continent, have been passed down. The joy of obtaining the water of life, the crisis when Daniels and Bosworth were besieging them, and the heroic spirit of finally escaping from death, breaking through in strength, and completely destroying the Valley of Gods. Destruction, which made Yulia and Archimedes, the three people's blood boiled when they heard it, and they were worried but excited. By the way, Mother, I'm going to go to the Cloud Swamp now. After finishing speaking, Jason suddenly stood up and said. Go to Cloud Swamp? Yulia shook her head and said, Jason, your father is currently receiving the inheritance in the Jintang Palace and cannot receive information from the outside world at all. Even if you go there, he will not be able to come out before he has accepted the inheritance. Can't come out? Jason's brows suddenly frowned, but I still have to go to the Cloud Swamp. I want to find the temple guardian and ask some questions. After obtaining the heaven and earth refining technique and feeling the terror of the heaven and earth refining technique, Jason has been trying to figure out what is the connection between the ancestors of his family and the god-killing Nadim. Perhaps these mysteries can originate from that. The answer can be found in the mouth of the temple guardian. However, just as Jason finished speaking, Yulia shook her head again. Jason, if you want to see the temple guardian, there is no need to go. Before your father accepted the inheritance, he passed back a message. The message tells us that the temple guardian is not in the Cloud Swamp. If we are in danger, we can hide in the Cloud Swamp and we will be safe. So when you first appeared, you thought it was because the enemy regretted that we were so nervous. The temple guardian is not in the Cloud Swamp? Jason was stunned for a moment, with a trace of regret in his eyes. It seems that it is impossible to figure it all out for the time being. Hearing that the temple guardian was not in the Cloud Swamp, Jason's heart couldn't help but be filled with regret. In the end, he could only shake his head helplessly. At the same time, there was also a trace of doubt in his heart. According to Jason's guess, the temple guardian of the Jintang Temple in the Cloud Swamp should be an extremely terrifying existence in the Cloud Swamp, one of the 7 forbidden areas in the mainland, just like the terrifying strong man in the Water Spirit Temple in the 7-Star Sea. It can be said that he is the ultimate existence that suppresses the entire Cloud Swamp. Generally speaking, it is impossible for such a character to leave a place like the 7 Forbidden Lands. Now that he has left, Jason is quite confused. In that case, Mother, I'm going to go back to the Alchemist Tower right away. I don't know how the Master of Bispham Tower is doing. Since the guardian of the temple is not here, Jason no longer thinks about it. No longer deciding to stay in the territory of chaos, he spoke out again. Under his treatment, although it was known that the Master of Bispham Tower could last for more than a year, no one knew what happened in the days after he left. Although Jason wanted to, he stayed to accompany his mother and 2 disciples, but when he thought of the injury to the Master of Bispham Pagoda, he couldn't calm down. You brat, you have to leave your mother again as soon as you come back. Are you going to make your mother angry to death? Yulia said angrily and fiercely. This, Mother, is really the injury of the Master of Bispham Tower, Jason explained hurriedly. Okay, no need to explain, of course Mom knows. Looking at Jason's somewhat panicked look, Yulia suddenly laughed and looked at Jason lovingly. Go ahead. Mom won't blame you, but your father is still here. Mom can't accompany you back to the Medicine Master's tower. Then, if you have time, come and see your mom. Yulia also knew that the injury of the Master of Bispham Tower could not be delayed. Although she extremely hoped that Jason could stay with her, she still forgave Jason rationally. Well. Jason nodded heavily. That's right. Suddenly, Jason seemed to have thought of something, and his eyes fell on Archimedes again. Archimedes, I have some things here, and I will give them to you. When the time comes, you will give them to me. Make good use of it and develop the territory of chaos well. Something? Archimedes was stunned for a moment, then stood up and said seriously, Don't worry, Master, I will definitely develop the territory of chaos well. Actually, you don't have to be so troublesome. After all, you need to spend a lot of time as an elixir. You only need to arrange some things and leave them to Tyson, Maria, Gandalf and Reagan. Nowadays, the territory of chaos is developing extremely rapidly. Reagan and Maria are both imperial spiritual masters who have advanced to the 8th level. They are the overlords of one party. Although they cannot be said to be famous, they are at least able to stand alone. Jason stood up as he spoke, and a blue light flashed in his eyebrows. Huh. A small blue tower exuding an endless aura of terror flew out from between his eyebrows and appeared in the living room. The tall blue tower was suspended in the hall, and the terrifying pressure dissipated. Archimedes and Loken were both shocked. Even Yulia, who was a dual-system mid-level Holy Spirit master, couldn't help but take 2 steps back, her eyes full of shock. Jason, this is what you said. The God of War tower obtained from the ruins of the God of War. Yulia was shocked. However, the next moment, before she could finish her words, the God of War tower shook violently in the room, and a blue light came out from under it. The entire living room was filled with all kinds of things. Piles of 7th and 8th level spiritual cores, spiritual stones, and spiritual crystals appeared neatly, emitting all kinds of magnificent light, and powerful spiritual power fluctuations spread out, like vast clouds of smoke, rippling in the room. In addition, there are a large number of armors and weapons. Each one is covered with glowing light, rich spiritual power fluctuations, and complex formations are engraved on it, giving people an unspeakable shock. There were boxes of elixirs and treasures piled up in a staggering way. These were exactly what Jason had seized from the God's Destruction Valley, and the Lingtian sect and the Boning family each occupied 1/3 of the thousands-year-old treasures of the God's Destruction Valley. Such a shocking scene completely stunned Yulia and the others. Suddenly, the entire living room was silent, without a sound. Jason and Claire only stayed in the territory of chaos for 1 day, and the next morning early in the morning, Jason and Claire said goodbye to their mother, Archimedes and Loken, and they rushed towards the elixir medicine tower in the middle of the continent, shattering the void and galloping away. 2 days later. An extremely mysterious place in the middle of the continent. The land here is filled with lush mountains and forests, rich in spiritual energy, which makes people feel relaxed and happy. Suddenly, one by one, boom! Over the originally peaceful mountain forest, the void suddenly shattered, and a black space hole appeared. 2 figures exuding an astonishing aura walked out of it. It was Jason and Clay, who had rushed back from the territory of chaos. Ya too. Spiritual Medicine Master Tower, I'm finally back. With excitement in Jason's eyes, he took out the Tower Master's token at once, and a dazzling cyan light was instantly projected from it, illuminating the sky above the valley in front. Chi! The originally calm void suddenly rippled, and the cyan aurora bloomed. The entire mountain forest seemed to turn into a cyan ocean for an instant, and at the same time, a portal suddenly appeared in front of Jason. Let's go! Jason shouted excitedly. The next moment, he and Claire had entered the cyan aurora and disappeared. At the same time, in the elixir tower, in a hall deep in the Sky City, many people exuded amazing auras. The strong men were gathered together with solemn faces at this moment. The atmosphere was extremely heavy, and people could not breathe due to the pressure. There was a suffocating atmosphere, like a storm was about to come, and the wind was filling the building. Everyone, here today, I have a few things. Things are to be announced. Sitting at the front of the hall is an old man with gray beard and hair. His face is wrinkled and old. In his right hand, he is holding a green spiritual branch, but his hands are like skeletons. The skin on his hands was wrinkled, as if there was only a skeleton left, without any flesh and blood, like a dying old man, gloomy, without any vitality, only a gray breath, exuding from his body. He looked looking at the group of people below. He spoke with difficulty, his tone full of hoarseness and age. Master Bispham Tower, if you have any questions, let's wait until your injuries are healed. We'll talk about it now. You're like this. Among the crowd below, a young woman with long cyan hair stood up. Her face, it was Lanyug Gusen, who made a worried voice. Yes, Lord Bispham, in your current state, it would be better to stay in the Elixir Palace to cultivate. The Deputy Tower Master of Comoros, beside Lanyug Gusen, couldn't help but worry. This decrepit old man, who seemed to be on the verge of death, turned out to be the master of Bispham Pagoda of the Spirit Medicine Master Pagoda. Wait until my injuries are healed? Bispham smiled bitterly. I know my own situation. I don't have a few days left to live. Before that, I must tell the story. If I don't tell it, I'm afraid. There is no chance. No, no, Jason will definitely get the water of life back. Lan Yu Gusen shook his head repeatedly, with tears shining in his eyes. Okay, Lan Yu Gusen, stop talking. Bispham shook his head, with a hint of worry in his eyes. To be honest, the thing I regret most is that I promised Jason to go to Tianhai continent. After such a long time, there is no news about Jason. None. I was afraid that he might have encountered some unsolvable crisis. After hearing what Bispham said, everyone fell silent, and the atmosphere became more solemn. It has been almost a year since Jason left the Medicine Master Tower. Although Jason said he was very confident at the time, what is the situation in Tianhai continent, but no one present clearly understood that although Jason's strength was strong, comparable to the 9th level intermediate Holy Spirit Master, he was only a peak 8th level Imperial Spirit Master after all. In a place like Tianhai continent, there would definitely be someone stronger than him. Yes, once they meet them, it will be difficult for Jason to take advantage of them. When they think of this, everyone's hearts can't help but sink. Unknowingly, in the years since Jason joined the Alchemist Tower, especially in that after the battle between several major forces, Jason left a huge prestige in the minds of everyone in the Spiritual Medicine Master Tower. His stunning and amazing strength also filled everyone's hearts with admiration. Really regarded as the future Tower Master of the Elixir Tower. So, here, I have a few things to announce. The first thing is that after I leave, Brother Yalu, you and Kamaro will go that day. High Continent went to look for Jason, and he must be brought back. As for the Blue Moon Gusen, you must not go there. If Jason really encounters an accident, our Elixir Tower must leave one behind. Hope. Second companion, Feng. However, before the master of Bispham Tower could finish his words, there was suddenly a burst of rapid footsteps outside the hall, and at the same time an attendant hurriedly rushed in from outside. Come in. Who asked you to break in? Seeing the hurried look of the attendant, Bispham couldn't help but his face darkened and he shouted loudly. An unspeakable pressure was suddenly released from Bispham's body, even though Bispham Mu's situation has become extremely critical, but as the Tower Master of the Spiritual Medicine Master Tower, even at this time, he still has a unique majesty on his body. As the attendant is also an 8th level low-level Emperor Spirit. Teacher, but after being shouted at by Bispham, he immediately froze, his face turned red, and what he originally wanted to say couldn't be said. What's the matter, tell me? Seeing the other party's appearance, Bispham, who felt that his attitude was too harsh, couldn't help but soften a little, and became a little gentle. Jason is the Tower Master, he is back. The attendant then said what he wanted to say. Boom. As soon as the attendant finished speaking, a thunderbolt sounded in the entire hall. Everyone stood up suddenly with shock on their faces, completely losing their composure. What? Jason is back? Where is he? Quickly, bring him here. No, let's go out. As soon as the attendant finished speaking, bursts of noise suddenly rang out in the originally quiet hall. Amidst the noise, everyone was excited, with expressions of joy and excitement in their eyes. We really can't blame them for being so excited. Over the past year, they have all been looking forward to Jason's return. Especially when the Master of Bispham Tower is so critically ill, they are even more eager to get news about Jason, and today, Jason finally came back, making their hearts so excited that they could no longer remain calm. Where is Jason? The Master of Bispham Tower also stood up excitedly. At this moment, he didn't know how such a powerful force could burst out from his weak body. His tired and weak expression also changed again. Glowed. However, at this moment, the expression on the face of the Master of Bispham Tower froze in an instant. Not only him, but also the expressions of everyone present suddenly stopped, and they looked at the door of the hall with excitement in their eyes. There, two figures slowly walked out of the hall. The leader was a black-haired young man carrying a black épée, and behind him was a woman with short blonde hair. It was Jason and Clay. Elegant. Jason. In the hall, Lan Yugusan and others shouted excitedly and gathered around, especially Lan Yugusan. Her eyes instantly became moist, with tears flowing in the corners of her eyes. I'm sorry, everyone, I came back late and made everyone worried. Jason looked at everyone and said excitedly. Master Bispham Tower. The next moment, his eyes fell on the Master of Bispham Tower. After seeing the appearance of the Master of Bispham Tower, Jason felt sour in his heart. It's good to come back to Zao, it's good to come back. The Master of Bispham Tower stepped forward, his eyes full of joy and relief. Jason, that water of life. Suddenly, she seemed to think of something. Beside her, Lan Yugusan hurriedly spoke out, looking at Jason with hope in her eyes. For a moment, everyone looked at Jason, their eyes full of hope and expectation. However, they didn't say anything. Obviously, they didn't want to put pressure on Jason. Fortunately, the mission has been fulfilled. Sensing the angry gazes of everyone, Jason spat out a few words from his mouth. Then everyone suddenly became restless, and even the Master of Bispham Tower was breathing slightly faster. Although he had already ignored life and death, it did not mean that he was not afraid of death. In the face of life and death, he was also afraid of death. He would be afraid and timid. Now, after receiving the news of Jason's success, the excitement made him, the Master of the Elixir Master Tower, a 9th-level senior holy master, a strong man who has stood proudly in the stern continent for hundreds of years. I couldn't help but lose my composure. But soon, his expression returned to calm, because all this, whether it was the efficacy of the water of life or anything else, was said by Jason, but Bispham himself was not sure. He was afraid that if he didn't succeed, he wouldn't be able to bear the blow. Jason, is the injury to the Master of Bispham Tower, someone in the crowd said excitedly. Let's talk about this matter. Jason must be tired after coming all the way back. Let's let him rest first. I believe he must have encountered a lot of things in Tian High Continent. The Master of Bispham Tower spoke up. No need, Lord Bispham Tower, I feel it. Your injuries have reached an extremely serious level and cannot be delayed any longer. Let's do this, everyone retreats. Jason suddenly spoke. Huh? Everyone present had surprise on their faces, but they still backed away. Jason's eyes flashed. Shwa. From the center of his eyebrows, a blue pagoda as tall as one person suddenly appeared, which was enough to destroy the world. The terrifying pressure to suppress everything in the world was transmitted from the God of War Tower, and waves of blue were the dense rays of light spurred out from this pagoda. Billions of rays of light rise, with endless divine brilliance. The pagoda exudes a pressure that makes people dare not look at it. Roads of blue chaotic aura fall down, as if they are alive, and the light rises and falls. I felt this pressure in my heart, and the faces of everyone present changed color. Whether it was Elder Yaludi and the others, or Lan Yugusan and the others, everyone felt the pressure of the God of War Tower. There was a tremendous pressure that could not be resisted. Water of life, go. Looking at the Master of Bispham Tower opposite, Jason suddenly shouted. In the void, the God of War Tower shook violently, and a stream of blue water spurted out from the bottom of the God of War Tower. Under Jason's control, it was poured into the body of the Master of Bispham Tower. This is a stream of water filled with a strong breath of life. The strong breath of life dissipates, making everyone present feel extremely comfortable. The refreshing breath makes everyone sublimated from the depths of their souls. Is this the water of life? Many people were shocked. Master Bispham Tower, don't resist, absorb it with all your strength. Jason roared. This water of life is an extremely strange type of 9th-level holy treasure. It can be used to prepare elixirs or drink it directly. Originally, Jason's plan was to refine the water of life, mix it with some medicines into a medicine of life, and then let Bispham take it to restore his lifespan and vitality, but now, after mastering the heaven and earth refining art, Jason changed his mind. He planned to pour the water of life directly into the body of the master of Bispham Tower, and then use the heaven and earth refining technique to completely extract the life power from the water of life, allowing it to escape from Bispham. The inside of the body exploded. The terrifying pressure was released from Jason's body, and powerful spiritual power overflowed. 5-color divine rainbows descended from the sky and the earth, rendering the entire hall colorful. A large amount of water of life, under the control of Jason, poured into the body of the master of Bispham Tower. Roar! The master of Bispham Tower suddenly roared, strong energy spurted from his body, and the powerful spiritual power caused the surrounding void to shatter in an instant. An indescribable power surged through Bispham. It is generated inside the main body of Famta. Bow! 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 The clothes on the main body of Bispham Tower were all torn to pieces. The body, which was originally as thin as a bone, was suddenly filled with luster and gradually became fuller under the nourishment of this water of life. The whole person's body smelled of decadence and decay. Sweeping it away, there is a kind of rebirth of all things, and a flourishing vitality blooms. Buzz! Jason waved his hands and used the heaven and earth refining technique to completely release the effects of the water of life. Pa! The muscles on the master of Bispham Tower bulged instantly, and the skin was almost bursting. It was full of strength, and the life that was originally consumed increased rapidly at this moment. The original white hair turned black again, the skin became rosy, the body was full of vigorous vitality, and the whole person became extremely young. In a short period of time, it was like changing from a dying old man to a young man again. A vibrant middle age. Seeing this change in Bispham Tower, everyone in the hall widened their eyes and were full of surprise. A dying old man with a gray beard, in a very short period of time, rejuvenated, the surrounding muscles and skin on the body were filled with vitality in just a short moment, becoming plump and rosy, and the muscles swelled. The strong visual impact shocked everyone's minds. And vibration. In the main hall, Jason continued to use the heaven and earth refining technique, and the aura of chaos lingered around the master of Bispham Tower. At this moment, Jason seemed to regard the master of Bispham Tower as a spiritual elixir. Refining, the life force in the water of life was thoroughly penetrated into every inch of skin and every cell of the Bispham Tower master. Time passed slowly, and the spirit of the Bispham Tower master, who originally seemed to be dying shining, there is endless vitality blooming in the body, completely sweeping away the decadence, and the whole figure seems to have returned to its peak state. The colorful spiritual power disperses between the heaven and the earth, covering everything. Boom! Suddenly, an indescribable huge salty pressure descended from the sky and the earth, covering the master of Bispham Tower. A large number of laws of heaven and earth appeared from the void, pouring into Bispham's body like a tide. Within. This is a torrent of laws. As soon as it appears, it fills the entire hall. The powerful breath of life escapes, drowning the breath of chaos released by Jason, and becomes the only one in this world. These elemental laws are all blue, evolving into clear runes, entering the body of the master of Bispham Tower, shining brightly. Say this is like everyone in the hall is. He was stunned and didn't understand what happened. Even Jason was stunned for a moment, and the next moment, his eyes showed a look of shock. The clear law runes showed the breath of the great road, and the world of life was the Tao was so thorough that everyone in the hall felt so relaxed and refreshed, as if they had been sublimated, and their lifespans seemed to have increased all at once. Wow! A large number of life laws were integrated into the body of the master of Bispham Tower, and then gradually subsided. A robe quickly appeared on the master of Bispham Tower. The whole person was radiant and no longer tired as before. An indescribable terrifying coercion was faintly released from his body, making everyone present feel an invisible deterrent. After recovering from his injuries, Bispham now, it seems to be even more unfathomable than before, giving people a feeling as if they are facing an abyss and sea, only feeling profound. Master Bispham Tower, Could it be that you have advanced to the 9th level of the peak Holy Spirit Master already? In the main hall, Elder Yalu Daij couldn't help but speak in surprise. Not only him, but also the others looked shocked. Even Jason felt that the current master of Bispham Tower was different. Bis, the master of Pham Pagoda, had a smile on his face, but shook his head and said, "No, I haven't advanced to the 9th level yet, but before, I have vaguely grasped the mystery of the law, and I feel the key to advancement. There is another level. Film, as long as I break that film, I can advance." Bispham feels that now his body is full of power, and his grasp of the laws of life is extremely clear. As long as Lay consolidates it and understands it carefully, it won't be long before he can reach the peak of the 9th level. Jason. The master of Bispham Tower looked at Jason with complicated eyes, filled with relief, joy, and gratitude. Master Bispham Tower, the life force in you has been completely nourished by the water of life. You have recovered, but your weakness during this period cannot be completely recovered in a short time. Therefore, in the next month, you cannot fight fiercely, otherwise it will leave some troubles. After Jason felt Bispham's body, he couldn't help but said, "I know." The master of Bispham Pagoda nodded. "Starting tomorrow, I have decided to retreat. I must reach the peak of the 9th level, before the arrival of the god's birthday." The eyes of the master of Bispham Tower flickered. "By the way, Jason, the aura on your body seems to have been promoted to the 9th level intermediate Holy Spirit Master." The master of Bispham Tower fell on Jason and suddenly said, "Yes, Jason, the aura on your body, it's so powerful, why do I feel like I can't see through it? Isn't Jason the 8th level peak Imperial Spiritual Master when he went out on behalf of the Tower Master? How come it's only been a year?" The words of the master of Bispham Tower also attracted everyone's attention, one by one. He exclaimed in surprise. "And Claire?" While looking at Jason, they involuntarily cast their eyes on Claire. After feeling the 9th level intermediate aura on Claire's body, they all widened their eyes. He almost didn't dare to look at each other. Jason, you and Claire, one by one Lanuegusen, Cassinus, Edmes, all of them made a surprised sound, with expressions in their eyes. Shocked. In the year since Jason left, the three of them have not slacked off at all, practicing crazily every day. Even so, 1 year has passed, and the three of them are still just 9th level low-level Holy Spirit Masters. The 9th level intermediate Holy Spirit Master still has a way to go, so after seeing the changes in Jason and Claire, it's no wonder they were so surprised. "Jason, what happened when you were in Tianhai Continent?" everyone asked curiously. "Actually, it's nothing," Jason smiled. "Back then, Claire and I walked all the way through the Skyrim, and when Jason told the story in detail in the Spiritual Medicine Tower, in the Spirit Beast, an endless mysterious place in the deepest part of the mountains. Crash! A large amount of strong spiritual power surged. This was a mysterious valley, and the entire world was filled with substantial spiritual elements, rising and falling like a tide. Each of these spirit 20 elements has turned into liquid, and the light of the law is flowing, full of mysterious atmosphere. If the master of Bispham Tower and the others see this, they will definitely be surprised, because these liquids are the expression of spiritual power concentrated to the extreme. The strength of the elements contained in each drop of liquid is even a 9th level high-level Holy Spirit. The spiritual power in their bodies is simply incomparable to the masters. In the open space of the valley, there is a huge black round platform. This black round platform seems to be directly embedded in the rocks on the ground, covering most of the ground in the entire valley. On the black round platform, there are various complicated formations and spiritual patterns. The various spiritual patterns are extremely complicated. It is obvious that there is a formation arranged on this black round platform, with a large amount of liquid-like spirit 20 elements and elements. Laws, crazily pouring into the complex formation, the torrent of spiritual power comparable to the full exertion of a 9th level peak Holy Spirit Master, constantly pouring into the formation, urging the formation. Driven by such huge spiritual power, the entire formation glowed slightly with purple light in the valley. This spiritual formation is so complicated. If the 10th level divine formation that Jason cracked in the God's Destruction Valley is a river, then this mysterious spiritual formation is an ocean. The two are not in the same place at all. Above level. The entire spiritual formation was constantly emitting a purple shimmer, flickering like a fluorescent light. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew by. It seemed that nothing happened, but in front of this mysterious spiritual formation, in the originally empty valley, several black figures suddenly appeared. It was completely unclear how they appeared. It was as if these several figures have been there since the beginning and have never moved. The power of this spiritual forbidden formation is really getting weaker and weaker. After so many years, will the last layer of defense of our stern continent finally be broken? One of the black figures looked at it carefully. After looking at the formations on the ground for a long time, he let out a sigh full of worry. This spiritual confinement formation was set up when Master Stern fell. It blocked the powerful men of the God realm from the mainland forever and could not enter our stern continent. Once the spiritual confinement formation is lost efficacy, then another dark figure couldn't help but speak out. In the past tens of thousands of years, we have had no communication with the God realm, and we don't know what happened to the God realm on that day. But judging from the weakening of the spiritual forbidden formation, the God realm on that day has never given up on invading us. Stern's thoughts, Yuan Shi is constantly destroying the barriers between the two planes, and wants to invade our stern. Several figures were silent. How long can we, stern continent, have peace? No matter what, the continent that our masters used to protect with their lives must not be destroyed by people from the God realm, even if they die. Yes, we must not let the gods destroy it. The people in the world will destroy the hometown that the masters and the others protect with their lives. Everyone, let's go back. From today on, we can't be negligent in the slightest. Because the spiritual confinement formation is weakened, between our stern continent and the heavenly God realm, the barrier between space has been weakened a lot. I suspect that some space barriers have been broken. Although the spiritual confinement formation is not broken, there will never be a God-level strong man entering our stern in the world of gods, but some 9th-level ones it is still possible for the Holy Spirit Master to break through the space barrier and enter our stern continent. At that time, we will not be able to take action then, A low voice sounded, and a gust of wind blew through the valley again, and several originally erected lines, the figures suddenly disappeared, and the entire valley returned to calm and empty, as if those few people had never appeared before. In the Alchemist Tower, after hearing everything Jason said, everyone in the entire hall was shocked by Jason's experience over the past year. In order to celebrate the recovery of the Master Abyssfam Tower and Jason's return, that night, the Alchemist Tower immediately held a lively banquet, and the entire Alchemist Tower fell into a frenzy on this day. During the banquet, everyone in the entire Elixir Tower was extremely excited, especially many of Jason's friends, who were celebrating with joy. The day after the banquet, the Master of Abyssfam Tower announced his retreat and completely entrusted Jason with all affairs of the Medicine Master Tower. He needed to advance to the 9th level before the birthday of the god. Jason, on the other hand, returned to Transformation Island and met many of his former friends. In the year since he left, no one was lazy, everyone worked extremely hard, and their strength was greatly improved. No matter Leonardo, Sophia, Denisha, Temujin, or anyone else, they were not lazy at all. In the following days, Jason stayed at Huashan Island. Although he has mastered many of the heaven and earth refining techniques, there are many places where Jason still feels foggy, very unfamiliar, and difficult to use. You must know that once the real heaven and earth refining technique is used, no matter what kind of strength the opponent is, it will be instantly refined and turned into the original law and spiritual power, without a trace of resistance. But now Jason must only after the opponent is killed can the attribute laws mastered by the opponent be extracted from flesh and blood. The difference between the two is more than 1,000,000 miles. Let alone a great achievement, it is not even a small achievement. Moreover, according to the information Jason got from the Red Dragon Crystal Jade Box, once mastered, this heaven and earth refining technique will definitely be astonishingly powerful. It can kill people at a higher level than what he has mastered now. It's just a matter of refining the rules. In addition, Jason also often practices in seclusion, constantly comprehending the law of the void and the law of the 5 elements. Jason clearly knows that if you want to truly become a strong man, it is impossible to just plunder other people's laws. Only by practicing step by step on your own can you be extremely steadfast and be able to advance to the 9th level of Advanced Holy Spirit Master as quickly as possible. In his spare time during training, Jason would also give guidance to Leonardo and the others, and impart some formation knowledge to Melting Saint. Time flies by like running water, and 3 months passed in the blink of an eye. Huashan Island. Rongxing stood in the center of the God Transformation Island. Around him, countless chaotic auras fell from the sky and rippled around him. In the distance, Leonardo and others were watching from a distance. In the center of the island of transformation, Jason was dancing with his hands, and the 5-color rainbow bloomed on his body. One after another, green, full of the elegant atmosphere of the law, he was refining in Jason's world. Under the transformation technique, he was continuously beaten into Rongxing's body. Ah! Rongxing let out a low roar, and the clothes on his body exploded layer by layer. The cyan light flowed together, forming a series of cyan wind blades. During the tremor, it cut through the void and opened dense cracks in the space. These laws of the wind system were obtained by Jason from a 9th-level low-level Holy Spirit Master in the Valley of Gods when he was in Tianhai Continent. When Jason returned to Transformation Island, he discovered that Melting Saint was there. In the year since he left, he has not been lazy at all. When he had already advanced to the peak of the 8th level, he already had the idea of letting the Rongxing advance to the 9th level. However, Jason was not in a hurry and let the Rongxing consolidate his cultivation. For this reason, and constantly using elixirs to weaken Rongxing's physical strength, finally, 2 months later, Jason made a decision. After calling Rongxing out, Jason did not hesitate at all, and took this 9th level stock. The power of the saint-level law penetrated into the body of Rongxing and helped it to be refined. Time passed by in waves. Chi-chi. In everyone's shocked eyes, traces of cyan light appeared on the surface of Rongxing's body. These cyan lights became brighter and brighter as time went by. Gradually, there were astonishing waves. The aura gradually bloomed from within the melting holy body, and about an hour later, there was a rumble. Suddenly, a terrifying pressure descended from the sky and descended on the world. The wind laws all over the sky were like sky curtains, falling from the sky. The 20 elements of the wind spirit in the entire world became violent at this moment, forming hurricanes, easily tearing open the void, carrying huge energy, and poured into the Melting Saint crazily. In his body. At this moment, Rongxing's entire figure turned into a cyan sun. It bloomed with a light that was impossible to look at. Astonishing, the wind elemental spirit was like the water of the sea pouring from the sky. Power is constantly pouring into the body of Rongxing. At this moment, Rongxing is like an ancient beast that crawled out from ancient times and hungry for tens of thousands. The crazy whale swallows the spiritual power of the wind system and consumes these. All the spiritual power of the metal law was absorbed into his body. Rivers of elements formed a splendid Milky Way in the sky, transforming into the extremely beautiful law aurora. Finally, after maintaining it for 2 full hours. Boom! An astonishing coercion spread among the islands, and Rongxing's whole body rose slowly. Buzz! An invisible coercion descended from the sky and spread directly, covering an area of kilometers, forming a spherical light blue transparent cover. Within it, the spiritual power of the wind system flows, which is unique to the 9th level Holy Spirit Master. Domain. Master, I have advanced to the 9th level. Feeling the astonishing spiritual power in his body, Rongsheng couldn't help but cry out excitedly. His body swayed slightly, like a gust of wind, and he appeared in front of Jason in an instant, his whole person excited. Made a sound. Not bad. Jason smiled and patted Rongsheng on the shoulder. He wanted to say something more, but at this moment he deleted boom. A monstrous breath spewed out from the deepest part of the sky city of the spiritual medicine master tower. The next moment, a cyan aurora, like a pillar of light, suddenly spewed out from the endless void. A cyan light pillar penetrated the entire secret realm of the spiritual medicine master tower, and the irresistible pressure shocked the 9 heavens and 10 places. The rich breath of life dissipated. For a time, the entire area where the spiritual medicine master tower was located felt this terrifying force coming from deep within. Under the pressure, everyone looked at the deepest part of the endless fog with shocked expressions on their faces, with trembling eyes. That's the palace of spiritual medicine. Jason's face suddenly showed joy as he looked at the place where the cyan light pillar was spitting out and the terrifying pressure contained in it. He, the master of Bispham Tower, has finally advanced to the 9th level of peak Holy Spirit Master.